So confused.
My name is Frank Cho, and you're listening to Something
Guys,
Super
welcome
Podcast.
back to another episode of Something Super Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Mark.
And guys, we're still going to be posting to YouTube, but this time we're doing it via Zoom. Just a little bit easier on us. We got a lot of busy things going on in our lives, and we still want to be here for you. So if you're watching, thank you so much for watching. And if you're listening, thank you for continuing. So guys, this week we wanted to talk about the hot new Marvel movie, Thor Love and Thunder. So I know we're gonna have some hot takes here. Mark and I just had a very brief conversation about thoughts on the movie, and we have like very varying opinions on it, and that's okay because that's what we're here to bring you. So I guess Mark, since you have the hottest hot takes, let's start off with them.
All right. So number one for me is they kind of create a plot hole. So in Eternals, they said that the gods were made up and based on the Eternals, but now there's actually gods. They reference Jesus, they reference obviously Zeus is in it. I believe it, at least I think it was Shang-Chi the dragon. He was gold in this one, so I don't know if it's the same one.
I don't think it's the same. It looked a little different
because it could also be Iron Fist.
Yeah,
it could be an Iron Fist reference.
That's fair.
But so it creates that plot hole there. Overall, it was a funny movie. It was a good movie. Just wasn't a good Marvel movie, in my opinion. I'd give it like a 5, maybe at the highest. Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, like in the comics, he's literally like a cosmic level threat. And in this, he's just kind of there again, just like all Marvel villains for the most part. I feel like they could have did a lot more with that character. And for me, I just felt like it was just Christian Bale pretending to be Heath Ledger. Yeah, I don't know what, like the tone of his voice and like, I don't know, it just his mannerisms a little bit like.
So here's my only like argument to that. He lost everything. So like the only thing he had and he cared about was his daughter. He's in the desert praying to this god every day, slowly like slipping into insanity.
Right.
And then on like the final day, right before he dies, he ends up in, you know, the god's realm, meets this god that he's been praying to for God knows how long. And the guy's like, yeah, no, go fuck yourself. And they're like, oh, we're just celebrating the kill of this, you know, thing with the Necrosword. And then the Necrosword comes into his possession and he kills the god. He has lost all of his humanity at this point. And then the sword also corrupts him. So like he's already going insane. The sword makes him more insane. I'm not saying that the Heath Ledger reference is like off base at all, but I'm saying like, you know, you could kind of see how like that would tie into like insanity, like Joker level insanity.
Right. No, and that's what I'm saying. For me, these are, like I said, these are just my critiques.
Sure,
I enjoyed the movie. I really did. I thought it had its funny moments. I really like that they did the mighty Thor, like I think he calls her Lady Thor. She's like, can you not say mighty?
Yeah.
Like they make the mighty Thor reference, which a lot of this is based out of, you know, Jane getting the cancer and all that. So like, I enjoy that they did stick to the source material for the most part.
Yeah.
What also kind of confused me was like, when did Thor get the power to be able to enchant Mjolnir? Was that after Odin died, I guess?
I would have. No. It couldn't have been because he was with Jane before Odin. But so I don't think it was necessarily an enchantment because he didn't like say anything that like was enchanting.
He enchants the lightning bolt at the end. What do you mean?
Well, no. So I'm saying that he might have gotten after Odin, but I'm talking about when they do the flashback and it's him and Jane in the house or like in their apartment, and he's like talking to Mjolnir and he's like, you know, make sure you watch out for her, you know, always take care of her. And then Mjolnir now listens to her and not necessarily to him.
So then is Mjolnir just kind of like Groot, like he just doesn't talk, but like it can listen?
Sentient?
Yeah,
I mean, you would believe so because Mjolnir kind of has a mind of its own in that regard. So does Stormbreaker, which I liked that like plot point in the movie where like Stormbreaker's a jealous girlfriend or, you know, like a jealous lover and like constantly like sneaking up behind Thor. Like He's like, no, 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 no. It's my ex and my ex weapon, and this is kind of weird.
He's like trying to steal it at the at the gathering or whatever. And he just like hovers around the corner, just looks at him. He has to give it the pep talk at the end to like get him to stop projecting the Rainbow Bridge and all that.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
the
and it's funny,
Bifrost.
we we went from like Thor 1 and Thor Dark World, which were like very serious, dark-esque movies. Like obviously Dark World was significantly darker, to Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, which are like 80s hair metal and fun and colorful. And trust me, I'm not complaining at all. I thought both of those movies had their ups and downs. Ragnarok is probably one of my favorite Thor movies ever, and he is the first of the original three
Right.
to get his fourth movie. And it even said at the end, and by the way, spoiler alert at this point, if you're gonna continue listening past now, you're fucking wrong if you haven't seen the movie.
Right.
It says Thor will return. So we know he's coming back again to get another movie. And I guess Hemsworth's just going to keep going and going and going. Also, I love the fact that they still had like the Asgardian actor troupe.
I was about to
Which
say Matt Damon,
Matt
Luke
Damon,
Hemsworth, and Sam Neill,
yeah, like
and
love it.
added Melissa McCarthy.
Fucking hilarious. Like
And they're
absolutely.
basically just recapping the previous movie, which is
Oh
what
yeah.
they did in Ragnarok. They recapped the previous movie.
And I honestly really like the fact that Melissa McCarthy was Hela. Like that was super funny. She's super comical. Like I love her comedy style. I'm glad they brought everyone back. I'm glad they kept Matt Damon and Luke Hemsworth. Like, you know what? It's funny. It's a good like breakup for it. And I was a little confused as to how like New Asgard slowly just became like Disneyland.
Yeah, it's just like a tourist attraction now. And they gave Thanos his own ice cream shop.
Yeah.
What I see, what I absolutely thought was like great was the Guardians of the Galaxy parts. Like, I really didn't want them to be a big part of this movie, and they weren't.
No.
Like, they did enough, but the Thor will return. I think he's going to be in Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think it's, they like named it as Guardians of the Galaxy, however they're going to spin it.
Right. I
But
don't think though he's going to get another solo. I think
oh no.
he'll probably be in as or whatever the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I think he'll probably be done after Secret Wars. I think is when they'll
All right.
have.
And again, I mean, not that I don't like Thor, we're ushering in an entire new like generation of Marvel. So bring us that. Bring me a little bit more of the newer stuff. Again, we're not looking to recast anybody. We're not looking to replace anyone. But there is an entirely new echelon and genre of Marvel at this point. Mark and I had the talk the other day about Miss Marvel, which seems almost like a Nickelodeon show from the 90s. It's very kiddish, but it's a great show. It has that like really deep cultural roots to it, which I think is awesome. But this is new Marvel. We're not, just bashing fucking heads anymore. Like that's not what we're about. But overall, I am a huge fan of this movie. I know you had your hot takes on it, but like it really was a good movie.
I
I
think
thought Christian.
I just prepped myself for Natalie Portman to take over, and it's like, nope.
No, I'm glad she didn't take over. I did like her send off though, like that was kind of cool, and to bring in, um, like the kids because now they're like the newer Asgardians that are going to be taking over like the roles
And
of
it's
these.
all the actors' actual kids.
Yeah,
Seriously,
and
the
I
Gore's daughter is Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
okay,
Heimdall's son is I forget he's related to anybody, but literally you had Luke Hemsworth, you had Lee when he's doing like the montage of him growing up, like running through the woods. The second stage, the second youngest one is his other son.
okay,
Is Chris Hemsworth's other son. And just like the group of the kids, both Natalie Portman and Christian Bale's kids were in it.
okay.
Like they
That's
were like some of like the trapped kids, and like I think that's awesome. Like,
yeah, I like that. I also like the fact that Heimdall's son is now like sort of taking over for Heimdall. He's got the same power. I
Axel.
love, yeah. That was an interesting twist. Everything that Gore the God Butcher did, I kind of liked the concept of it. Although I do agree with you in the regards that like he should have been a celestial level threat. Like he's big time in the comics, and they sort of nerfed him for this. And I guess they have to because he's a one movie character. Like Thor's not getting another trilogy, so it can't be like the build up for it.
Right.
But I do disagree with the fact that he was kind of taken down like as quickly as he was. I mean, he
Yeah, and
murdered
it
a
was
fucking ton of gods, like gods that are just as powerful as Thor, if not more powerful than him. And then like he put up a fight because he had an axe.
well, we don't necessarily know that because I mean Zeus does say that he was killing lower tier gods. So
Sure.
we would need to know where Thor technically ranks.
Yeah. I mean, he's not high enough up that he's invited to this god party.
Right. But see, that would be like an Odin level. And I feel like he's just under Odin.
Yeah.
So
I'm just, I
I
don't know.
feel
I
like
feel like,
he's like that youngest kid when you hit that age cutoff in like middle school, you're like the youngest kid in high or in the freshman year or whatever.
yeah. Okay. That's
Like
fair.
like that's the way I look at Thor.
I could see that. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's an interesting twist on things. I thought the overall movie, I liked it. Again, like you said, it may not have been the best Marvel movie, but like cinematically, I thought it was fun. It was funny. There was definitely some serious parts to it. They had a great cast of characters again. Those are all the things I needed. Like it was fun. And I would absolutely like if you are a Marvel fan and you've invested this much time and money into it, go see it. If you're listening to this right now, you've probably already seen it, so good for you. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd watch it again. I might not pay for it again, but I'd watch it again.
See, the one thing I wanted out of this movie most was more world building, and they did it a little bit with the post credit scene because we're seeing like all these different like afterlives now. Like in Moon Knight, we saw the Egyptian underworld. We saw Valhalla. Now we see
Black
uh
Panther,
Black Panther. You see the what do they call it again? It's
the
the
Eternal Plane, something like
celestial plane, something
no,
plane.
it's not, yeah, it's something plane, the Eternal Plane or Celestial Plane, or I don't know.
Either way, yeah. So like we're seeing like different afterlives, and I think that that's a cool concept. And I did like the one joke though where like the Guardians are going through everything, like where Lady Sif was. I forget that god's name, but he was like, "Oh, he was the nicest one," and it's like the meanest looking one out of
Yeah,
all of them.
with the giant fucking animal looking thing.
Yeah,
I was a huge fan of the fact that Korg was essentially just telling a story the entire time. Like he was recapping it for us.
I loved when he was like, it's sad, but I loved when he was talking to the kids, and he's like, "And Thor, he lost a lot. He lost his mother, his sister, or not his sister, his mother,
Father.
his father, Loki, Loki again." Loki
Yeah,
again.
again.
He
Yeah,
says
3
Loki like
times.
5 times.
Yeah, I also it's interesting that Korg only his face is alive. That's a new twist that we're just getting now. Like it's the only sentient part of his body.
And that his whole race just must be men.
Yeah, and that they also procreate over a hot pit of lava for a month. Like they just hold hands over a hot pit of lava and then they just have a baby. I love the fact that
Conversations have to get so awkward after a while. Just
yeah. Well,
like
I also
three
think
days in, just talk about it. You've talked about everything already.
I like the fact that he thinks that that's how everyone mates. I wonder if Thor finds some love, if you'll find love, you stand over a hot pit of lava for a while. Like that's awesome. And I again, Korg is probably still one of my favorite characters from the Thor series. So having him sort of recap everything, being a major player in this, he had his own god at the Council of the Gods. Like I liked all that. It was pretty cool. Um, again, I'm a huge fan of all of it. Loved Zeus. That was an
Or
interesting,
not
interesting
Kurt Russell.
casting,
Yeah.
and the fact that he was killed with his own lightning bolt was pretty cool.
Well,
So,
he wasn't.
well, not
I don't think
killed, but
he's
he was
killed. He was wounded,
wildly
definitely.
injured.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And the fact that they're bringing in Hercules, which is like one of Thor's biggest rivals in the
I know.
comics,
It
and then
reminded me of like what the hell? Oh my god, God of War.
that's what I got when Valkyrie tied Korg to the back of her head,
Yeah,
like how you have Mimir on your hip through the game.
yeah,
That's all I could think of.
yeah. It's awesome. I honestly love it. I'm excited for whatever else Chris Hemsworth is pulling out of his ass, as Thor. I'm glad they brought him back, like his redemption arc, from Fat Thor to now ripped Thor again. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
The
Okay, so
goats.
I know you gave it like a 4.5 out of 10.
I'd say 4.5 or a 5.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a solid like 8.5, and that's just because I cinematically love that movie. Like it was just well shot. It made you laugh. It made you feel things because again, like name a person that hasn't been touched by somebody with cancer. Like, it's tough. And it's just again a great movie. I liked it. Tough to sort of place it in the Marvel universe because again, like you said, it doesn't do a ton of world building, but I liked the movie itself, like the movie.
Do you think the post-credit scene could possibly future link into the post-credit scene from Eternals or the
I
end of Eternals?
I don't see why not.
Because you figure Thor killed Thanos. I
Yep.
forget his name, but he's Thanos' cousin or
And
brother
this
or
is
whatever.
brother.
Yeah. And now you have Hercules. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, yeah. Because now Thor is just making enemies
Yeah.
with everyone.
Just straight up destroys the palace at the beginning.
Oh my
Their
god.
most beloved
So funny.
structure. I'll make sure no harm comes to it.
Just destroys the entire fucking thing. I'm curious as to what the fuck those bird things were. Like, what the fuck were those?
Right? Like,
Yeah, very confusing. But hey, you know what? It was cool. How he had just enough of the Guardians in it to justify a Guardians and Thor like spin-off movie that sort of brings him to this point, even if it's a back shot from, prior to now as a prequel, I guess, to the fourth Thor movie. I'm cool with all that.
and the Living Tribunal has to be coming soon. They showed it again.
Oh,
In this. That's
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
the 5th time now we've seen a reference to it.
That could be like the phase 5 big bad, since we know we already kind of have an idea who the phase 4 big bad is via Loki and Ant-Man and Wasp. So
I've been hearing Doctor Doom rumors, and they're supposed to be releasing a Fantastic Four type trailer, something or teaser or something soon, or announcement.
Give me the Fantastic Four. I think if Marvel does it, they'll do it right. Sony has kind of dropped the ball. Fox, not whoever the fuck had it last, shit the bed too many times. Stop. Just fucking
Shocker.
stop. But I mean, that's all I've got as far as this movie goes. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, reach out to us on our socials or on our YouTube. Mark?
Guys, just like and subscribe, and don't forget that we're doing a giveaway. All you got to do is subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, and you'll enter to win a free choice of your own corksicle, either stemless wine glass or a tumbler.
Tumbler. Yes. Also, they just released a Thor and Loki version Marvel tumbler, so check them out as well. Guys, last but not least, see us on Instagram and Facebook at Something Super Podcast and on YouTube now, and on Twitter at SS Podcast 52. Last but not least, I'm Steve.
Mark.
We'll catch you guys next week.